If you guys enjoy what I do, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe. It really helps the channel and it's free and easy to do. Welcome to my channel where we cover the lore of video games. We cover all kinds from the mainstream to the indie, so I hope you enjoy your stay, and welcome to the Chronicler of Lore. After taking care of the blasphemies that popped up all around Eorzea, the Warrior of Light learns that she's not the only one who's been hunting the things down. Gaius and the Alamegans took down a few in Werlet, and Hien helped the Bajna Resistance handle a few of their own, so you haven't been the only person dealing with the things. But there have been some reports from Garlemald that a blasphemy popped up there, and they need your help. Oddly enough, there hadn't really been any blasphemies in Garlemald before, probably because the place was too cold and monster-ridden already for anyone to notice. But the Garleans who have been trying to rebuild their fallen nation have started turning, and that's a problem that they need you for, especially since they claim that this blasphemy is stronger than most of the others. The strangest thing is the request for aid came from Sharlayan. Considering how they hated intervening in the problems of other nations, them worrying about Garlemald is highly out of character, so you make your way to the Frozen Nation to find out what's going on. Maxima and Lucia are happy to see that you answered the call, but they figured that the best person to tell you about the blasphemy is the one who found it, and that person turns out to be Fortuno, Alphino and Alisae's dad. The Forum and the Loperids had been trying to find a better use for the moon since the whole evacuate the planet plan has gone out of the window. They've decided to turn the place into a storehouse for all of humanity's knowledge. Think Labyrinthos but on steroids. It's a good idea since Etheirys is hit with a world-ending calamity every Thursday. So if the world ends, the knowledge that people have gathered won't be lost. The moon's also not under the laws of any particular nation, so members from all of the world's nations will have access to it no matter how the individual places see one another. Fortuno had already gotten the Eorzeans, the people from the Far East, and people from Razat Han to join a team to survey the moon and see if it will work as a knowledge repository. But their plan was put on hold because the blasphemy appeared in the Tower of Babel. After that happened, there started to be claims of Garleans transforming, which made things worse. The Ilzabard contingents already sent out troops to deal with the creatures, and Artuarel has started trying to find out more about the creature that started the changes. The twins are helping keep the people at Tertium from panicking until this new threat has been dealt with. Unfortunately, it won't be all that easy to get to the main blasphemy. Ugiri and Fordola are working on solving that problem, and Lucia thinks it'll be best if you found out what the problem is from them, and Fortuno decides to tag along. Fordola's not in the least bit surprised to see you show up to save the day once again, but Ugiri is. Granted, at least she's happy you're there. Fordola's never happy about anything. Ugiri knows why you're there, so she figures it'll be best if one of her scouts gets you up to speed. This particular scout turns out to be Lawrence, the former leader of the Company of Heroes, although he pretends to not know who you are for whatever reason. According to him, the blasphemy is holed up in the top of the Tower of Babel, but it's got a small army around it, and there's some type of magical barrier keeping things from reaching the creatures. Lawrence doesn't know much about magic, but he does know that if you don't get a spellcaster, none of you will be getting close to the tower. That's strange because blasphemies can't use ether, so how this barrier is being maintained is a complete mystery, one that Lawrence plans on getting the Elder Seedseer to help solve once she gets there. While you wait for her, Lawrence thinks you all need to find a way to stop people from changing. Artuarel is working on that, so you and Fortuno go to talk to him. None of the people who've turned have been in Camp Broken Glass or Tertium, and he's pretty sure that all of the people who have turned came from Corvos. When the final days hit, the people of Corvos came to Garlemald for safety, but the capital was already in bad shape. Some of them stayed, but the rest decided to try to find safe haven outside of the city. Artuarel wants to go and talk to them to find out what caused the changes, and he wants you and Fortuno to tag along. The people had loved the land of Corvos until the final days had forced them out. That had been hard to deal with, but coming home and seeing the destruction and death in the capital made the people feel like everything they had was gone. And losing 2 homes back to back is enough to break anyone. Proving that that's the case, someone turns while you're there. The new creature doesn't attack anyone, it just heads off toward the Tower of Babel, so you hunt it down and deal with it. Once you put it down, the people who saw the man turn claims it happened after the guy started listening to the radio. The thing keeps playing the same message, talking about the Empire is gone and it will never rise again. The creepy part is there are no stations around that should have been able to broadcast a radio signal. Now, Anima had the ability to send out messages, but that monstrosity has been dead for a long time, which presents more questions than it answers. Artwarel shows up, and he's been joined by both Merwim and Emmerich. They had heard about the blasphemy and they figured they should join in to help deal with it. So Fortuno lets them know what you found out and shows them the radio that's still repeating the same message. None of them have a clue who sent it until the thing says one line that Connie Senna's guard recognizes: "For glory everlasting, for Garlemald." That was a saying that Lord Nerva always said, and anyone who lived under his rule would have heard him say it constantly. He's also the one who had tried to take over Garlemald after Varys died, but he disappeared after the Civil War started. How he snuck into the Tower of Babel without getting killed is beyond them, but the answer is simple: Nerva is the blasphemy. Fortuno thinks that he turned after he watched the Empire crumble, which took his dreams of ruling it with it. It makes sense, but the question is how to stop others from sharing the same fate. It won't be as simple as finding the Garleans a new home because it's unlikely that they'll leave. That means the only thing anyone can do is try to help them rebuild. It won't be easy, but there are some members of Garlemald's former ruling class mixed in with the refugees in Camp Broken Glass, so getting them to help work on the blueprint for Garlemald's new government is a start, so you all go to talk to them. The people don't really think rebuilding Garlemald is possible since it got pretty messed up during the final days, but Fortuno isn't telling them to do it alone. He plans on having aid sent over from Sharlayan, and if that's not enough, he's willing to offer the Garlean sanctuary and complete citizenship in the nation. Considering how hard it is to even visit the place, his offer is extremely surprising. It seems odd that he's offering so much, but he's making up for something he feels that his people had done wrong. When they had been planning on evacuating the world during the final days, they had decided to not tell the Garleans. In other words, they were going to let every last Garlean die if the final days hadn't been stopped. Regardless of what the Garlean leadership had done, the citizens were innocent, and no amount of justification could make leaving them all to die the right thing to do. But since the Scions stopped the final days, that gives them a chance to make up for that. And while some of the Garleans don't like the idea, more than a handful of them are okay with it since they don't really have many options. That's a step in the right direction, so Emmerich and the others go to talk to Maxima to figure out how to move forward, while you and Fortuno get back to work on figuring out how to break through the blasphemy's barrier and get into the Tower of Babel to put it down. And that's where we're going to stop for today. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Donate to the channel if you can, and I'll see you all next time.